What's up, softball players? I'm Coach Dan Blewett. On today's video, let's talk about the qualities of a shortstop and what a shortstop is, what a shortstop is not, and why you might not be getting the playing time that you want there. And for you parents, why maybe your kid isn't good enough to play there and whether she's going to be able to stick at that position later. I know this can be a source of contention between coaches and parents and players who think that their daughter is good enough to play short. This is a baseball and softball problem, but in most cases, coaches are typically right, and recruiters and scouts and coaches for college will tell you pretty much how good you are and where you should be. So let's go over a couple questions that will help you answer whether or not you're going to be good enough to stick at shortstop. All right, question one. So is your daughter the most athletic player on the team? If she's not, it's going to be really hard for her to stay at shortstop because it requires so much first step quickness, jumping, range, speed, footwork, all that stuff, arm strength. It's a really dynamic position. Center fielders and shortstops are typically the most athletic players on the team. So if your daughter is not in the top 3 most athletic players on the team, it's just probably not going to happen. It's just probably not. She's going to have to be in a spot where it requires less foot speed, less arm strength, all those different things. But in general, the best athletes play shortstop and they play center. And of course, obviously they could be a pitcher too, but on the field, as far as position players, if your kid's not the most athletic player on the team, and it's probably not even close, then shortstop's probably not going to be right for her long term. Number 2, does your daughter have one of the strongest arms on the team? Shortstops have to make a lot of plays where they're charging them, they're throwing from the run, they're throwing from deep in the hole. It requires a strong arm to get players out as they get really, really fast. It's a long throw, and the ball's not going to be in their glove as fast as the third baseman. Typically, the third baseman, shortstop, or right fielder all have the best 3 arms on the team because they have long throws. But the shortstop is not going to get a ball in her glove quite as fast on average as a third baseman would. So a third baseman in softball, because the field's so small, can almost get away with not having a great arm. I've seen them at the divisional level with actually poor arms. But at shortstop, that's not the case. So if she doesn't have one of the strongest arms on the team, they're probably going to have to find someone who does have that arm so they can make some of those plays as the level of play increases. Question 3, is your daughter extremely dependable in her fielding? This is one of the most critical, obviously. You don't have to make all the flashy highlight reel plays, but you do have to field everything you're supposed to field. And obviously no one is a 100% fielding percentage, but you need to have pretty good range where you're getting to balls where other players wouldn't. And most things that come your way are an out. If you consistently make errors where it just feels like your coach and your team can't depend on you, then you're not going to be able to play shortstop. That's just the bottom line. Coaches need to feel very comfortable with the most important player in their infield, which is the shortstop, that they're going to make most plays, that they're dependable. And dependable can mean different things to different people, but you know it when you see it and you know it when you don't see it. When a player is just always seems to be making an error in a critical time, or there's another double play that she botched, or we could have got a double play, but she didn't field it cleanly again. I've had this on my baseball teams where it's just like I'm rotating kids through trying to find one player who's going to be dependable. It's hard. Question 4, does she have the best range on the team? It's not enough just to field the ground balls that she can field. The better shortstops are fielding ground balls that other players don't. So the reason you get to play shortstop is because you have another couple steps of first step quickness, where again you just can get to a ball 2 steps deeper in the hole that anyone else on your team can get to, and you can field it, and you have the arm strength to make that play. So if your daughter doesn't have great range, if she's just kind of slow foot speed, she'll field everything, but she's not going to go deep into the hole, not going to be able to charge balls and still get those outs, then third base or first base is probably going to fit her better, where those positions don't have to move as much. Last question, does she have great instincts and field vision? This is important because the shortstop is a leadership position. You're going to have to communicate with other fielders, with cuts, with relays, all that stuff. There's a lot of duties as a shortstop, and it's a fast position with a lot going on. So if a player doesn't have that instinct where they can't think on their feet fast enough, they can't make split-second decisions about where the ball needs to go, it's going to be tough for them to stick there because, again, it comes down to that dependability. So here's the thing with these 5 questions. Are there any no's? If you're asking yourself these questions about your own kid, or if you're a player and you're asking yourself about your own ability, are there no's here? If they are, you're probably not going to be good enough to play shortstop long term. Now, that's not to say that you can't get better, you can't practice, you can't develop, because you surely can. But if you're like third string on a 14U team today, what are the odds that you're going to be able to get recruited by a college when you're not even the best player on your own team. It really becomes hard to do that because these skills don't get, the game keeps getting faster, and these skills here, having the best range, glove, arm, very dependable, and being an infield leader, those skills, they become harder. You have to have an even stronger arm at 16U to get girls out who are faster than you do at 14U. You have to have an even better range at that level 2 because they hit the ball harder. So you've got to get deeper into the hole in a short amount of time. So it doesn't get better, it gets harder as you go up. So if you don't have these skills today, sure, you can always develop and get better. I'm not saying you're dead to the world in the future, but you have to be honest with yourself. Some players, like I might just not have the foot speed to play at the varsity level, whereas I might be okay here at the junior varsity level. Or I might be okay here at 15U, but I'm probably not going to be able to play center field in college because I'm just not fast enough. So I'll probably have to play right or left, maybe at varsity ball or at 17U when there's just too many players faster than me, because there's a lot of players out there who are good. And if you don't have those skills today, those players are developing, you're developing, they're still going to probably stay a little bit above you. So it's hard to be a college shortstop in general. It's really hard. That's why there's only one per Division I team, right? Everyone else is playing a different infield position, then there's a backup. And typically if someone's going to back up the shortstop, if they get hurt, it's going to be the starting second baseman. So there just aren't that many positions, obviously. Like there's only one shortstop per team. And when you're young, it's you mix positions around, coaches get players rotated, and they all get playing time at different positions. But shortstop is so important that if you don't do well there, you're not super dependable, it gets tough for them to be able to give some of that playing time away when the team needs to win and everyone wants to go home happy. So you have to understand that it is really rare to play shortstop at the collegiate level. It is not easy to play at the collegiate level. So, and that's the reason I'm doing this video, is shortstop has the most fun in the infield. They get the most ground balls because 80% of hitters are right-handed. In softball, that's definitely a lower number because more players will become slappers and then thus hit from the left side. But there's still a lot of ground balls come to short, right? That's how it is. And even slappers are trying to slap the ball to the left side of the infield a lot, right? Just to try to beat something out. So you have to have a really great shortstop, and it's hard to have all those skills. How many players that have a cannon for an arm, have an amazing glove, or have great range, and are super dependable, don't make a lot of errors? There's not a lot of them out there. It's a hard thing to do. It's a really high bar to cross. So if now, again, this is more for parents, if your kid's not good enough to start at short on a 12U team or a 14U team, sure, they're going to develop, their body's going to change, they'll get some more skills. So it's not to say it'll never happen, but you just need to understand that if your kid's not the most athletic player on your team now, it's pretty unlikely that they're going to suddenly blossom into this Division I player later on, because really the best players young are the best players a little bit older, and then they're the best players a little bit older for the most part. And of course, there's always exceptions, so don't say that's a blanket statement because it's not. But when players are getting signed and committed at 15, 16, they're typically the best players at 14, 13. And when you're ahead physically and you're faster and you have a stronger arm, you're going to get more playing time and more reps. So it's tough. It's a sort of catch-22, where if you're not getting playing time now, you're probably going to get less playing time in the future. So it's just hard. And that's part of the reason I did this video, is because I don't think parents realize, I don't think they understand. We're like, my kid's just as good, she should play short. Well, if she doesn't have the range, then that's why she's not playing short. Or if she doesn't have the arm, that's why she's not playing short. So will your kid be good enough to play in college? Will you be good enough to play in college as a shortstop? Probably not. It's a hard position. You've got to be the best infielder essentially in your whole county. That's a good way to think about it. If there's 10 high schools in your county or 5 high schools in your county, are you the best shortstop in that whole county? If so, then colleges are going to want to pick you. But at a lot of high schools, the best player on that team doesn't play college softball or plays junior college or Division III or Division II. It's not that easy to play college sports. And so you've got to be really, really good, and it takes a lot of those high level skills. And if you're not there today, you shouldn't be complaining about it. What you should be doing is going out and practicing, because if you don't have good enough range, go take more ground balls. If your hands aren't good enough, you make too many errors, go take more ground balls. If you need to get your arm strength up, I have a lot of resources on my YouTube channel here and my online courses to help you do that. And go throw, go put in the work, go do your arm care exercises, go get back in the weight room. All those skills can be developed, But if you're wondering today why your 14U daughter or your 16U daughter isn't starting at short, it's probably because she's a deficiency in one of those big skills: arm, range, glove work, field vision, and dependability. If she doesn't have all 5 of those, it's hard to put a player at short. All right. So hopefully today's video helped. I think having these honest conversations is important, especially for parents who didn't play themselves, who might just be watching the game and not really understanding how playing time is meted out. Because for me, as someone who played professional baseball, who has a good idea, I mean, when scouts are asking me about baseball players, or if I'm watching a softball game, you can tell who's going to go on to the next level and who's not. You just can. It's much harder at the youth level when kids are still developing. They have a long way to go developmentally. But, you know, I could be watching a Division I baseball game, for example, and a scout buddy of mine could call me and be like, hey, did you see the third baseman at that University of whatever game? And I could be like, yeah. Like, you think he's got the tools to play pro ball? I'd be like, nope. Like, I could tell you right away. Or you could see a kid who plays varsity shortstop, and you watch their game, and a college scout could be like, hey, can you give me an honest opinion? Could that kid play short at the next level? I'd be like, nope, doesn't have the arm strength for it. Nope, doesn't have the glove work for it. Nope, his actions, the way he moves, or the way she moves aren't they're just not there. It's a pretty, like, you know when you see it kind of thing, because again, once you've seen it at the highest levels, you know what's required: the arm strength, all those things that I mentioned. So again, hopefully today's video was helpful. If you have any questions or you want to argue with me about it, leave me a comment below, and I'll see you in the next video.